Good evening. Welcome to the June 17th, 2024 Ware Board of Selectmen meeting. We officially called the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. On a site walk, which is the topic of a public hearing later in about 7:30 after public comment. So please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As the agenda says, we're going to start off with public comment, and then after public comment, we'll move into a public hearing regarding right-of-way that was never used. So I'll open up the floor to public comment. Come on up. If you would, make sure that you see the green button and state your name and, state your name.
Brian Riepo.
Hi, Brian.
Live on Lindsay Lane. So last year I made comment about South Sugar Hill Road and Isley's Ice Cream, and I emailed the board and the town administrator, and I guess they had a hearing last year, and I wasn't even notified about it, about the parking situation, because my neighbors went, and when Ricky was on the board, he told me about that they had the meeting, but he'd let me know when the next meeting would be because they wanted to invite the owners so that everybody could collaborate and come to some sort of agreement. I never got any memo about the next meeting or that even occurred at all with the owners of Isley last year. I don't know if anybody knows about it or not. If there were two meetings last year or not. This year, that just happened a couple weeks ago. I sent another email. Like, I'm not worried for my safety, per se, but the parking's really atrocious. It's really bad. The road's tiny, and literally, I had someone screaming, yelling at me where I had to call the police, give me the double middle finger with my kids in the car. It is bad. The one side no parking is not enough. I get threatened probably about 3 to 6 times a year. Threatened. Because it's usually people out of state or not from town, and they have no patience, and I'm getting threatened, and something needs to be done. Either no parking on both sides of the road and force them to use their land. It's a great business. I have nothing against the business. It's very popular. I love it. I like going there myself. But they've overgrown where they are selling, and something just needs to be done. Because the one side with a little bit no parking is not enough. Because on Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays, especially in the summer or holidays, there's 30 plus cars on that road, and I get threatened, like I said, multiple times every year. And my middle daughter has a peanut allergy. We have other allergy medical conditions, and it would be a problem to get emergency services past there, to my road. I don't know what the board's suggestion would be, or if they wanted to, because I don't know if the other meeting happened last year with the owners to bring them in.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll respond.
Oh, yeah, sure.
We did get your message, and last week we brought it, or excuse me, not last week, when we met last, 2 weeks ago, we did bring it up, and we asked to see the initial site plan review for when they originally got their permit, because I wanted to know what they had said then about parking.
Oh, I'm not done that with this. I'm talking about
No, I'm talking about original back in 2013.
Okay, I got you.
Way
Okay.
back when.
Okay.
What did they tell them when they were giving them approval to put up the business?
Yeah, okay.
And so we have that information, and I'm planning on talking to the board about it when we get to our other correspondence section. So the information you gave me about a hearing last year is new news to me. I'm not aware of it.
I had made a complaint like last year, the year before. You were here, Ricky was there, and I forget who else.
By my memory, there was not a public hearing, because that's, there were people here to talk about it. It was an item on the agenda, I believe, but a public hearing.
It was on the agenda, because I had emailed and they put me on the agenda.
Yeah, so like a public hearing, we would notify abutters and whatnot. I don't believe there was an actual public hearing, but it was an item on the agenda, and I don't remember a second meeting taking place.
No, because what happens, I used to work with Ricky at Ross Express, and I don't work there anymore, and Ricky goes, I'm sorry we didn't let you know about the first time, because I think the person who lives beyond him parks his car at the end of it, because he's tired of people tearing around in his driveway and ripping things up and whatnot. He was at it, so other people knew about it, but no one ever told me about it. this was not this year, but the previous year. And Ricky goes, oh, no, we wanted to invite the owners, and I guess maybe they didn't get that information or whatever, just so there would be a collab. He goes, I'll let you know when that happens, and I guess it never...
I don't remember that ever happening.
Oh, no, which is fine, but I think it needs to happen, and I don't want them to run a business or whatever, I just think whatever site they're on right now, it's too small for how successful they go, which is a good thing, they're successful. That's not my point, I'm tired of being threatened, is
At
my
least the
point.
parking situation.
Yeah, because they have there's a gate, they can maybe move it and park on the other side or something, because parking on the road on both sides, because the road's tiny enough, it's just barely wide enough for two cars to go through. And when it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or a holiday, there's 30-plus cars down there, and you can't get through. And literally, I came down, go to my house, and then someone came up because they wanted to come up, and I honestly got no service down there, at least that little section right there. And the guy came up, we stopped, and there's like 5 cars behind me, and he's like, then he points to the side, and I go, where do you want me to go? There's a stone wall on both sides. I'm like, where do you want me to go? He's like, and he's pointing to the thing. I go, well, I got a brand new truck with 20,000. I might scratch the crap out of it just because you want to get by. Plus, there's 5 other people behind me. I go, how are we going to do this? So he comes up to me, he gives me a middle finger, he's screaming at me. I called PD. I obviously had to call 911 and warn me. I said, hey, it's not an emergency, but I can't get the number to call. This is what's going on. And I don't really care about where I handled it. I give you the plate number, everything like that. No one ever called me back. No one ever followed up with me from the PD. Nothing. After an hour, one call.
We did get,
Chief
I
reported
don't
that.
remember the chief's response.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't just dropped.
No. My point.
You're the part you're saying about not.
I'm not saying it's anything with them. My point is, it's gotten better. I'm not the only one who's complaining about the parking on the road, and people who live past it are getting threatened. And it's not people from Ware, because most people I deal with Ware are pretty nice people. I really haven't talked to anybody, but it's people because Isley's, fortunately, because we're doing great, is on that list of ice cream places that you need to hit, and everybody wants to hit it, and they're just flat out disrespectful. Threatening. Like I said, the guy walked up to me, and I thought it was pretty hilarious. But he's giving me a double finger with my 10-year-old in the front seat, who made a comment about it afterwards, yelling, screaming, and threatening us with my 3 young girls at 8, 10, and she's 13. I'm like, what in the. And he goes up to me, he sees my veteran plates, he goes, well, Mr. ASVAB low score, score person, you can drive over here. I go, where? There's no room. The road is barely enough for 2 cars to go through. So when you park on one side, there's only one lane. So he finally moved over into a spot, and I get by, and he goes, see? I go, yeah, because you moved over into a spot so I could drive by. I go, the road's not, and then I made another comment about the posting at 30, and I know like a couple of years ago the board agreed to post the road. It was in a non-public session because I had other issues to talk about that were non-public, but they said they would post the road. And I had recommended 30, and they said there had to be a study, and that's why I brought up this road and some other roads are wider and whatnot that are at 30. The roads not posted. Some people, most people are good, but the roads aren't posted, so they technically can do 35, and on a post road. And obviously me being a police officer and whatnot, we usually don't write the 10-15 over, so that really gives them the ability to do 45-50 on South Sugar Hill Road before they finally will get a ticket. Because most judges won't look at something at least until it's 10 over or more. So that's basically authorizing 45 on South Sugar Road, which I think is a little fast.
Can you tell me about the time frame in which you think the 30-mile-per-hour speed limit discussion occurred?
It was a few years ago.
Should have been in a non-public session.
Right, that's
No,
why.
it was non-public because I brought up something to deal with me, the school, and it was a criminal matter with Weir PD. So because it had sensitive law enforcement, that's
Right.
why it got brought into.
No, but the topic itself should have not been part of a non-public. So that's
I
why
think
I'm-
we were talking about. No one was here, so I think that I think when we had talked about it,
That's why I'm asking for the
Yeah, yeah.
time frame because I can't go
honestly-
do a search on it.
I can't remember. Like it was probably actually it was. I know it was April 1st, or on April 1st. Not this year, but it was like 4 years ago maybe. It was sometime in the spring, summer of 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, that
So,
helps me, thank you.
But, I had talked about it because I'm like, well, the road, I think, should get posted, and I was just using like articulate facts, like, certain section of River Road, this road, I think, got brought down to 30 or is 30. Yeah, and it's wider than South Sugar Hill Road, and also with the ice cream stand and whatnot, and things, at least up to Lindsay Lane, should be 30, maybe even 35 past that, because there's not, any attractions or something, I don't know, I mean, that's obviously a discussion for you guys to figure out, but I would think 20, not 25, 30 would be an appropriate thing, at least from 77 to Lindsay Lane, because of with the farm and ice cream and whatnot, and if you want to continue it there all the way to the end when it goes into the trails, whatever, but maybe 35 depending, but that was another topic, that I brought up. So those are two, but my main thing is the parking. Like what was it like? You brought about the initial site plan. What was it?
Yeah, we're going to get to that later in the meeting, and I don't want to rehash the whole thing twice.
Okay.
So if that's okay with you,
I can wait. Till later in the meeting. That's fine.
it'll be toward the end of the meeting.
Okay.
I can give you the quick version, but we won't discuss it yet.
Okay.
What was in the site review back in, I think it was 2013, would be that there was no off-street parking, and the depiction had 7 on-property spaces.
Yeah. No, and like I said, we'll talk about it later, and I'll just sit and wait. But yeah, like I said, I think we all agree on Friday, Saturday, Sundays, there's more off-street parking than there is actually in the lot all the time. I'm glad they're popular. That's not my point. My point is I'm tired to be threatened. I'll wait till that. Just a random question. I know I'm up here and it's not pertinent. My daughter needs to use the bathroom. I don't know where the bathroom is.
If you go out the door and down the stairs,
Yeah.
it's,
Right in there.
yeah, straight at the end of the
All right,
stairs.
perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Anyone else for a public comment? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move to public hearing at 7:25.
Actually, I've got a question about something, whether it's public comment or else on the agenda. I came to submit my name for an opening on the ZBA.
We do have a ZBA appointment discussion on the agenda later.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for volunteering.
But it was only for your temporary one because we've had exchange about coming to the next
We're
meeting.
gonna
Okay.
probably have a wider discussion.
Okay.
I assume, I'm not speaking on behalf of the board, we haven't had the discussion yet. So I'd like to open the public hearing at 7:25. This is to hear testimony and comment on releasing the public servitude for a street which was dedicated to public use but never built, opened or used for public travel after 20 years after dedication. So the plans were approved showing this road in 1988 and 1989. That 20-year time clock ran out in 2008 and 2009. As background, Mr. Merrill, George Merrill, came before the Board of Selectmen on October 20th of 2023. That board, which I'll describe as the prior Board of Selectmen, affirmatively indicated that RSA 231:51 could be invoked, but we needed to go through the process, which includes a properly noticed public hearing, which we're having tonight. We delayed it from October till now because Mr. Merrill overwinters in Florida, and being able to make sure that he was here, we agreed to do it when he got back. So upon his return, T.A. Bolton worked to get the date which worked for him, and they were here tonight. So according to RSA 231:51, it reads, "Any street, lane, or alley within this state which has been dedicated to public use by being drawn or shown upon a plan of lands platted by the owner and the sale of lots in accordance with such plan may be released and discharged from all public servitude by vote of the governing body of a city or town if such street, lane, or alley has not been opened, built, or used for public travel within 20 years from such dedication." So, with that background, I'll ask Mr. Merrill if he'd like to get up and speak first, and then anyone else from the public that wants to talk will be invited. Would you state your name just for a minute taker, please?
My name is George Morrow.
Thank you.
I don't have a problem with doing away with the road that was planned 20 years ago. I just want to make sure that in that process, my right-of-way that exists in my deed and the neighbor's deed stays intact. Which it shouldn't bother because
Yeah, we don't touch your deeds.
Correct.
So I don't
That's
see
all
how
I've
what
said.
we do would impact
I'm in
your
favor of
deed.
doing away with it, so.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? And Ray, if you'd state your name, please.
I'm Ray Menard, the secondary party here. I guess my question would be, if we remove the road, what paperwork gets done? I realize it shouldn't impact the deeds itself, but all of the drawings and stuff, what kind of documentation gets put forward and who pays for that?
That's one of the questions I had as well, and I don't know if you can shed any light onto
I
that.
don't know, it's
As
the first time I've been through it, so.
Okay. I know there will have to be some paperwork, but right now I can't tell you what it is, but I'm fairly certain none of it has to do with your deeds.
Yeah, it
Right.
shouldn't, but
Yeah.
I
There
just
may be a
don't,
document that's drawn up by town council simply stating tonight's action.
Yeah.
okay.
It'll probably be something like that, but, you know, I officially don't know either. But we will
So-
get to that action if we affirmatively approve it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, last call for public comment on the public hearing. Okay. Hearing none, I'll close the public comment part and ask the board to take over discussion.
I think it's a good idea. I think Mr. Menard raised a very good point about the cost of anything associated with this. My immediate thought to reconcile that is, if we were to go forward, would be to have a motion that the town bear the cost up to a certain dollar amount, and if the cost were to go over that, then we reassess perhaps. I wouldn't expect any abutters to bear any of the cost of this, but that's my opinion.
I'd hardly believe there'd be any cost to just erasing something that's only on paper, doesn't exist.
Well, to his point, like
There-
redrawing
there-
the,
Yeah, there will have to be
plastic.
something to document this. Is it redrawing the original things that had it on there, or is it just attaching something to those saying that this has been dissolved? I don't know.
Erase it. Yeah, no, I understand, right, there's gonna be some documentation.
Yeah.
For it, some process for that. But, again, but going through it, it's fine, I agree with, we can go ahead and get rid of it.
Yeah, so part of that RSA was all landowners and mortgage holders be notified. Has that been done?
That was done before we could do anything. You had to notify them of 30 days prior to us doing what we did. That's why I could put on until June 17th,
Okay.
because of 30 days.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly, if you just come to the mic, please.
Sorry, that prompted a question, because I think in the deed, it actually specifies there's 4 lots, which the 4 lots, obviously by RSA, is not supported. But for the purpose of the hearing, would those, and I don't, it's not the same folks anymore, but I believe there were 4 properties that were going to be assessed by that, or have access to that.
Right. 2 were owned by a gentleman in Merrimack. So I had Mr. Merrill, I had you and Susan, I had the lot number for 6 and 7 is the gentleman from Merrimack, and those are the cards here for certifies.
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate you making sure.
and when we were out there, just to repeat it, you said you either spoke or emailed with him, and he said he had no problem with this.
Right.
Okay. Any further discussion?
That's all I needed to know.
Okay. Hearing no further board discussion, I'd accept a nomination or a motion to invoke RSA 231-51 and release and discharge from all public servitude the road. Did we know what the name of the road is?
There isn't a road.
Okay,
I don't think there's a road name, it's just a driveway.
okay.
So when 911 has it as a driveway, right? 1015 River Road?
I believe it's just a number,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just the driveway.
Matters.
It's just 1015?
Yeah.
It has not been built nor used for public travel within 20 years of its appearing on the approved plots and records in the 1988-1989 timeframe. And I would further add that the town absorbed the documentation associated with this action.
I would make that motion with the addition of spelling out which lot numbers, just because we don't have a road name, just to be extra precise. Which lot numbers that road traverses, which we're dissolving across.
Can you read those off to me, Naomi? So, Mr. Merrill, hold on. I have a list.
It should be on that plot plan that you had.
Yeah, Mr. Merrill's is 40651.3. The Menards are 40651.2. Mr. Andrew Saratori from Merrimack has 40651.6 and 40651.7.
Okay, so I would add, in place of 1015 that I said in the original motion, I would modify that to be lots 4651-2, 3, 6, and 7, or dot 2, 3, 6, and 7.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say yes or yay?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? The motion passes 400. So the town, us, have the action to determine what documentation is required for this decision, and I would request that all parties for those 4 lots be notified of what action we will be taking and how that process will move through, so you'll know when to expect it to be done. Okay? All right. Thank you very much. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but I know that you probably don't want to. I know, Ray, you spend enough time in this room, you might want to, yeah. Thank you. Have a good night. So next on the agenda is Eastman Road easement. Do we have anyone here from Conservation yet?
I think they're here.
Okay. We'll move forward then with the interim fire chief, Chief Rourke. And if somebody from Conservation shows up, we can circle back when they get here. So I'd like to recognize Chief Rourke for discussion on the plan for coverage during his separation, which is required for him to retire as a firefighter and move over to chief. You have the floor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We met with former Chief Dan McDonald of New Boston. He was a previous chief in New Boston Fire Department. We met last week and sat down with him, Naomi, myself, and him. And we went over a bunch of tasks and pretty much things expectations that I'm going to be looking forward for him to take over. And there's actually just a setup of tasks, and a lot of those have already been completed. It's just a matter of Dan filling out paperwork to be a town employee. I don't know if he's done that yet, and doing the typical background check and motor vehicle stuff I think we need to do also. But for the most part, the review of day-to-day operations and files and people and things of that such, Dan is going to be meeting with me in the next couple of weeks to go over that stuff, so he could be on par with that when he takes over. I did meet with the, I didn't meet with them yet. The retirement board is July 2nd, and for a tentative retired date of gone from August 1st to the end of August, and then be back in September 1st. There was talk about compensation for for Chief McDonald, but I'm leaving that up to the town administrator and
Yes.
Beth and
So the
stuff.
idea after we met, he came in with a list of questions. And we sat down and discussed how, I guess, we envisioned it to happen, which a lot of them had to do with, like, I'm responding and some other things because I guess the expectation was that he would, in the event of something big, he would be in charge. But then as far as payroll, payables and things like that, between Brittany and the office, we were gonna handle that part of it.
That makes sense.
But I think you still had a few more things to iron out. We talked about how he was gonna get the emails and act upon emails and things like that. So we haven't come up with a concrete one of which he would like to have it put down and then everyone sign so we know what's up. But we still have not pinpointed, I don't think, everything.
Correct. It's work in progress again. I'll be meeting with Chief McDonald in the upcoming weeks to go over specifics. I've already contacted Umbro. They're going to create an email for him that's going to mirror my email account. So I will still be getting emails, but Chief McDonald will also be getting the exact same email so he could stay on board and know exactly what's going on within the department. We use a program called I Am Responding, which is a mobile base that you can log on to and see what calls are going on. He used that over in New Boston, so that's going to be pretty much seamless. It's just a matter of adding him, and we could do that in the office, just add him up quick on that. As well as like door codes and stuff like that that he needs to get into. But pretty much,
We talked about office time as well
yeah.
as, you know, when he's gonna be here to meet the staff and try to get accustomed to everybody. Those are the things.
yeah, the good thing is Chief McDonald is local, so a lot of our members have already worked either on that department with him per diem or he's been around so long that they've worked with him. So, you know, they're not strangers to each other, which is really good. It'll make this go a lot smoother and
So I assume we will have to hire him? as a
Correct.
town employee, so.
Correct.
We only have, I mean, we have,
Meeting.
say again?
We don't have another meeting before 7/2, but we do before August 1.
Right.
correct. So it would be towards the last of July is when you would want to swear him in as the chief.
Yeah, so I think our plan is to finish completely ironing out everything so that there's no stone unturned. At that point, we would come together with an outline of what his expectation or what we're gonna expect of him and how it's gonna, so nothing falls through the crack. At that point, at the 8th, you could look at that, he would have met. And then at the 8th, you could really finalize it and you could swear him in on the 22nd because he'd still be here until the 1st. That was our,
Correct, and then that way there, I mean, I could work with him again over the next couple of weeks before I leave. I could work with him in the office so he could get accustomed to where everything is. And the staff is there, I mean, the staff there will definitely help him out. And, you know, Brittany's been doing a great job of getting on board with payroll and doing that stuff, so, you know, there shouldn't be too much of anything that, on that end of things that he has to do between Brittany and Beth. They should have everything pretty much covered.
Seems reasonable.
Is there gonna be any issue trying to get all that completed by 7/8? I know you're gonna be out.
I've done mostly my part, it's those guys finishing that end of it, because I don't understand. You know, he had some really pointed questions at the fire service world that I couldn't answer. I mean, I think we've answered ours, I've kind of run through things, and we did as a group.
Yeah, again, I don't,
More pointed to what'll happen at that building, more than here.
you know, Dan knows really what's going on. So he's been a fire chief for a long time, so it really shouldn't be any surprise, the stuff that we have to go over with him.
And part of what you're documenting is if there is a community-wide event,
Yes.
how he prioritizes what he works on.
Yep, absolutely. That will be gone over. Chief McDonald will have, assume the Tahoe, so he will have the command vehicle to respond from New Boston. That will be with him.
And if there's a multi-town event,
If there's a multi-town event.
That includes New Boston?
That includes New Boston. His first priority would be our town, because he's not the chief anymore in
no,
New
but I thought he
Boston.
was their emergency
He
response.
is I believe he might be their emergency manager director, their EMD. And if that's the case, that's a stone that I guess will stay unturned. And
Well, I'd like to at least have a tentative plan that, okay, if this happens, here's what we're gonna do. you know.
yeah, I'm sure that he has just like we do here. For us, it's myself, I'm the director, but Chief Moore is the second in charge. So I'm assuming that the same would be true
But I
in
don't
New
want
Boston.
New Boston to assume that he comes back and we assume that he
Correct.
stays.
Correct. Yeah, well, that's something that certainly we can make note of and iron out and make sure that that's ironed out. I'll just take it.
Would you like to meet him on the 8th?
Yeah, so, yeah,
Yes?
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And again, you feel by July 8th, you're gonna have everything ironed out with them.
I would say, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there's really, there's not a whole lot left to go on, that he has to do. He wanted to come down and meet the people, which I understand, at the firehouse, so that'll be in the next week or so, but he'll be on board. And the thing is, and like we had discussed, I'm not like leaving the planet. You know, I'm still available by telephone 365, 24 hours a day. He can call, he can ask a question. I plan on stopping in the firehouse to have a cup of coffee, because I'm not an employee anymore of the town, I could still pop in and have a cup of coffee or answer questions if he has something. So I just can't work any active scene or anything else like that.
No, but it'd also be a good opportunity for you to take a real vacation.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yes, things will go very well, I believe, with Dan. I have no issues, at all.
Any other thoughts? Anything else while we have the chief?
I have one thing for you guys. This will probably end up going at some point non-public, probably afterwards. But I just have a copy of my contract to you guys. That way there, you guys have time to mull over that and.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I can email it to.
You can,
Oh, you're, okay, you got a
leave
file going for
for
it?
Benji. Thank you.
Well, obviously, we can't take any time tonight and read it, but.
Correct. Nope.
We will
I-
definitely do that.
Yep.
And what was your basis for the generation of this? Was it just all your thoughts, or did you use something as a start from?
I used a combination of some other chiefs' recommendations, some colleagues. But basically, it's just so there's something in writing.
Okay. Thank you for initiating that. We'll probably also have it reviewed by council, just.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I know you would expect, so,
Absolutely.
okay.
Anything else you guys have that I could answer?
Can you give a quick update on how overtime and whatnot is looking? I know that's been kind of a hot button thing.
We have been burning through overtime like crazy. I think I have the latest, let me see here. Out of the approved budget for overtime of $88,955, year to date, so this was the end of May. This is up to the end of May. We had spent $64,398.80, which leaves us a balance of $24,556.20, or 27.60% remaining of the overtime budget.
So how are we gonna reconcile that?
You're underrunning your labor line, aren't you?
Well, correct. We have saved, if you want to call it that, a bunch of money and between retirement, payroll. It's almost similar to what highway went through when you don't have employees, you end up having that surplus. So yes, we've gone over on our overtime, but we certainly have enough money to finish out the year okay. I don't see any problems at all doing anything that we really wanted to do. We've gone over on a couple of our lines already. One was building maintenance. We're way, and I don't mean to take up a bunch of your time, but we're 36.14% over in our building maintenance budget, which was only $5,000. And all of that, with the exception of probably $500, has been to go fix broken things that were at the firehouse that just broke. So, and maintenance-wise, building maintenance.
Has that been across all the buildings or just the safety complex?
Really, right now, just the safety complex, unfortunately. We have,
East Road, you had some, East where? Didn't he fix the?
oh, East Ware, correct, we did put a new
What
door,
about South Ware?
a door. South Ware, we haven't done anything yet, but both the overhangs need to be done. Tim just fixed the overhang at the safety complex that he noticed was almost ready to fall off the side of the building, which I didn't notice, but he did. So that was fixed. But the rest of it has been either garage doors going, the springs, each time the garage doors go, it's $800, and we've done 3 doors this year already. And it's just the springs, just that's stuff beyond our control. So. But overall, we're looking good. We're looking good overall.
Bottom line.
You know, bottom line, you know, I mean, we're gonna come the end of the year, it'll be, you know, tighten our belts like every year, but we'll be okay.
Okay.
We'll be okay.
That's good. Yeah, especially because, you know, we're doing every other week, it's gonna be 3 weeks to the next one, and if it's,
Right,
these are
right.
big jumps in
Right,
time
right.
each time.
So, again, I don't mean to take a bunch of time, but we did find our SCBA compressor. Remember I talked to you guys about that? A company who we dealt with for our SCBA's, Fire Tech and Safety, they had a compressor come in on a trade-in, and the compressor has $200 on it, but it's in pristine condition, okay? And they're looking for $10,000 for that, compared to probably like $70,000, $80,000 for quotes that I got on another one, a new one, brand new one.
And how much did you say they were asking?
$10,000. The thing is, I have our town electrician. He came out because it requires 3-phase, and I'm not sure if our fire station is 3-phase, and he wasn't sure if it's 3-phase.
It should be. I don't know
Things,
what it is.
things were cut back in the day to build the station, and
I
I'm
have
not,
three-phase power going to my house. You should have it going to your
I'm not sure, and he wasn't sure. So if it is, it'll just be the fact of just running out of the panel and running the wire over to the other side of the garage, which he is supposed to be supplying us with a quote for, just so we kind of know what we're dealing with. But just to keep you guys in the loop on that,
Were we also told if you hook up the compressor, we could still have issues?
no. If the current compressor that was up there, if in fact they could get the part, which they can't,
Okay.
but if they got the part, the rest of the compressor, it's obsolete, so if something went on it, there's no way to replace it.
I recalled, it was not guaranteed that the fix would fix the entire.
Correct, yeah.
There's a line on the compressor.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
a new-
yeah, it was the last high-pressure line that had to be like 7 or 8,000 PSI line that goes there.
So
You're
where,
fine.
where would that 10 grand come from?
That's a good question. That's up to you guys, or us, me, find it somewhere. I'm not sure where, but we might be able to sneak it out somewhere. I'm not sure. I'd really have to go through and figure that out. I think that possibly we'd be able to find it. Again, bottom line budget, so,
Right.
you know, some other things may have to be sacrificed along the way, but in the long run, if we could purchase it and this all goes through and we could purchase this for $10,000, we'll be way ahead of the game. We won't have to worry about this for a long time,
So if it's in that good of condition and it's that good of a price, do we run the risk of it not being there in 2 or 3 weeks?
I told the gentleman that I had to talk to you guys first and investigate whether we did have the three-phase, because if it's a huge amount of money to run the three-phase, or we have to get it or run the wire, you know, I was waiting until I got some quotes back to actually see what the whole, like, package price was gonna be on it.
Yeah, I'm not asking that because I'm thinking that we should move forward today, right now. I'm just trying to set expectations that if 3 weeks, it might not be there.
Right. I put a bug in his ear, and they know that we're looking for it, so
Okay, hopeful news.
it's hopeful. Yes, very hopeful.
Okay, good.
And how many open spots do we still have?
3,
3.
How's that looking?
not good. I haven't had one applicant in 4 weeks apply. And I met with I was over at the Legion having breakfast, and the Bedford Fire Department chief came in, which was my former boss. So we had breakfast, and they had, I believe, he said that they had 18 applicants apply over there, and they hired 4 or 6 out of the 18. So he was gonna try to pass along some of the names there to see if, you know, we could get something out of that. But again, our pay structure is just not there. It's just not there. People, you know, we desperately need to do something with that and come up with something. And I know that's never gonna happen tonight, but just in the future, we need to really sit down and hammer something out with that. Or at least get some ideas from you guys,
Okay,
would be great.
okay. All good?
Yes.
Okay, well, we really appreciate your time and updates on everything that's
Thank you,
going on.
thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Okay, I think that brings us to opening of the horse shed renovations for the grant, the RFP for the grant application. So I think we've had 2 bids, I was informed earlier.
If you want, one came via email, one came in an envelope.
Okay. So I've never done this before, I just read the name of the company and what their bid is? Or what's the proper procedure?
I believe that's what you do.
Okay. This one is from Dairy Roofing. It came in by email. It's dated today, 6/17. And it's an estimate for ripping down the roof boards, replacing 100 square foot of boards and plywood. It has a whole list of things here that they're going to be doing. The bid is $13,385. And the proposal is good for 30 days. This one was a drop-off. The package says Fern Lassard, Inc. You can pass that down if you guys want to look at it. Anything else?
That I see.
Okay. This is from Fern Lassard, Inc., located out of Manchester. And it looks like it has the same list of things in the scope of work that this one does, but I haven't looked at it completely. And the price there is $25,002. Okay. It does include liability insurance and the original RFP as well in this package. And both included a list of references, both companies. Okay. So since this is for a grant application, we will not be awarding anything tonight, correct? Okay. So I'm assuming you need copies of these, one or two?
No, just one of each.
One of each? Okay. All right, we'll get that to you. And is there anything else that you need to submit the grant? If so, would you come up?
Yeah. Sherry Burdick.
Thank you, Sherry.
I will need a signature from the chair, I would say, on the grant. And I'm waiting for one letter that I requested, and I just took a couple of pictures over that I'm gonna insert in. Beyond that, everything's been done. I've got the package here. So if you'd like to sign it tonight.
So the signature is actually on the grant application itself?
Yeah, so I've got to scan it back in, and
And the letter that you're waiting for is what?
it's just a letter from one of the people that are over at the State House, from where?
So you don't need anything showing that it's a town-owned building or anything like that?
I have a copy of the tax
record? Okay,
records,
okay.
yeah, so I can give this to you just to look at for a minute, and then about half, 2/3 of the way down through, there's a place for you to sign under my signature. And then when it's complete and I send it out, if everyone here would like a copy of it, I can send it to everyone.
And this is due when?
The 21st, so I'd like to send it Wednesday if at all possible.
Okay. Does anybody want to look through this before we agree to sign it?
Can you make copies while you're looking at it?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And this is the envelope, but there's nothing else in it, I don't think you need. It isn't, the company name is on the
Yeah.
documents. If you'll give us a minute. Will you look at the scope of work and make sure that they're equal on the bid submitted?
Yeah, and you said something about one of them, they wanted to replace the deck on the roof?
I just was,
Plywood.
yeah, I was just looking at what the first line was.
The roof itself, the decking is not in bad shape at all. The rot is in the soffit and in the, some of the boards on the back. There's a few boards that need to be replaced.
Okay.
But as far as the roof itself, I mean, they may take it off and find something rotten on the edge, but, you know, the roof itself, I think, the shingles are a mess. The other thing, well, I'm here. The other thing that needs to be done is, there's some brush on the north end of the building. Small trees, probably an inch and a half through, not, you know, just brushy stuff. That needs to get cut out and cleared, and I'm not sure if, we used to be able to do a volunteer thing and get 2 or 3 people to go over there and just cut it and, you know, because I don't think highway's got much help right now to do it. But we used to sign a paper for the Historical Society, and if we had a couple of volunteers, thank you. So, I don't know if that still applies or not, but that needs to be done.
Historical Society to send out the volunteers or for the town to send out the volunteer requests?
Well, they used to have a request form that the Historical Society could sign, and we would do work, so that if somebody got hurt, the town wasn't liable.
Okay. Do you know if we still have something like that?
I don't even know what you're talking about. Remember, I just came back.
Brush on the north side.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, there's brush on the north end of the building, Naomi, that really needs to get cut out
Okay.
before they do the roof.
I'm not sure if the highway department.
I'm not sure about the highway department, because I know they don't have a big crew over there now.
We've got a few.
But we used to do a volunteer thing. I
We
mean,
used to have the prisoners too.
right, but we don't have them anymore.
No.
But
I mean, we can ask Jason.
you can ask him, and
And
then,
if he can't do it, then we can put out a call for
Well, it's gonna be
volunteers.
a little while, right?
yeah, because it'll
Because
be,
you're applying for a grant, so it's not a need to be done
yeah,
tomorrow.
no, but if it could be done in the next month, and he could work it into the schedule.
The
And then-
brush at the horse sheds?
Yeah, it's on the north end of the building. And then maybe the other thing that might not be a bad idea would be the daylilies have grown up against the building. And maybe if they, when they're mowing the lawn, if they could just go through with a line trimmer and line trim a couple feet away from the building out on this end, on the south end and around the corner.
I looked at just the first quote, I don't know if they each have it, but it seemed a little strange to me. The first one called out adding a ridge vent, which seems kind of aesthetically different than all the other historical buildings.
But- Yeah,
They're both together.
yeah.
So.
I mean, they put a cap on it, but they really don't need a ridge vent because it's all open,
So,
but
personally, I think it would look a little weird, especially next to the town hall. It doesn't have
it
that.
doesn't have it. Yep.
Certainty hip, which.
I didn't pass the second one around, did I? Now when you're ready. piece, but
She said she was waiting for one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So do we have any issues signing this tonight, or
Don't,
none? Do we need a motion for me to sign it?
I'll move that we authorize the chair to sign the grant application from the Ware Historical Society for a new roof on the Ware horse sheds.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor say yes or yay.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? I abstain. Okay, so the motion passes. And this is the copy you want signed?
Yeah.
And. Okay. Thanks for doing most of the work, if not all of the work. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you'll give us a copy of the completed one, just for our
I'll
records.
email it out to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I still don't see anybody from conservation, so, there were abatements in the sign box. Do we need to
Different
have?
ones than I emailed you. I
Okay.
had two separate ones for two separate matters that came from assessing.
Okay. One of them was in the box, we think.
It was?
Yeah. So that was the question, do we need to talk about them if we signed it? But if we didn't sign both?
One of them is, one of them's not.
Okay.
The Lawson one is not in here.
So do we need to talk about the Lesko
Well,
one?
the Lawson one is, I think I gave a pretty good explanation as to why and how it happened, but I will take this one out of here, because you already have it in here, you signed it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine.
So it's just the Lawson one, and that had to do with first half, timing when they bought the house. Do I need to, you guys, I sent it to you, right?
No,
Yeah,
we've
seemed
all,
reasonable.
we've all looked at it.
So then this one is just an added one that you didn't sign.
Okay,
You don't have to make a motion if you're gonna sign it.
okay. So this one is for $135.69 to remove the tax amount owned by the Lawsons.
Yep.
for the Sap House property, and it will also remove any tax lien if there was any placed. I don't think there was,
Well,
but
it
if there
automatically,
wasn't.
once it goes to zero,
Yep.
we generate a retention, it goes to the registry.
Okay. While they're signing that, is there a process regarding the campers that they get notified that they can email in their registration?
So the registration part has become new.
Okay.
So now they allow you to either register or you get taxed. Obviously, that's a personal choice.
Mm-hmm.
You take a brand new camper, it costs you $1,200 or more to register it, or you pay a tax bill based on it. We have come a long way working with the campground. Typically, we get a list of what's on the property and who's not coming back that have pulled out in October. There's always a few that slip through, and there's some people that aren't aware that they can register it now and turn in the registration. Because they can't get in the campground until May, so they didn't know they could send it a copy or drop it off whenever their birthday is either. So we're trying to make that more known, so if we had known that one had been done in February, wouldn't have seen a bill.
Right.
But at the same time, it's getting better, but there's no easy method. You know, it's a personal choice whether you wanna register your camper or you wanna.
Yeah, because we
Leave it
don't
on
even
site.
know that some of them are there until they,
Right, and so what they do is they go in before April 1st and see what's there, and then if there's no current tag on it, meaning they've registered because they can't come in until May and put the tag on it, then we generate a bill. So, we're working with Cold Springs, but, and Autumn Hills, obviously. But there's always a few that, there's just so many. There's just so many, I mean, there's 300 plus sites in Cold Springs. For us to try to keep track of all of them, I think it goes, you know, we've done okay, but, you know, how do we get better, I don't know. Because
Okay.
May 1st is the trigger date, and April 1st is our trigger date. Because it sits, as what sits on your property is April 1st is taxable.
I guess, if there's anything you guys can think of that we can narrow that down, that would be.
We've been trying to think. I mean, they try to supply us with a list, they do let us know who leaves, which is kind of nice. But a lot of times, they don't decide to leave until the next season, and it's kind of late for us. Because April 1st is passed, and then they don't let them come get it until May 1st, when they're open.
Yeah, well,
And they register with the state, they don't register here.
They can, whatever town you live in, you register, like you register your car.
Oh.
And then they can supply us the registration.
but they register with their home address, not with their campground address.
So if you're,
it's not even apparent at
Bedford,
that
yeah,
point
exactly.
where they're gonna keep the camper.
And it's
So
fairly new,
not a
they didn't
trigger.
have an option before.
It's not a
Sometimes
trigger
they-
that says, oh, this says Cold Springs, so,
Yeah.
hey, here's some additional information you might wanna know.
Yeah,
But they're actually here registering?
Some of them.
so some are here, yeah, and a
ask them?
good share of them are not. A good share of them are from another town, another state.
Do we ask if they're keeping it in a campground, or?
I
I
guess you
know.
could, but I don't know.
Yeah, and if we ask, that would only capture,
Yeah,
yeah,
understood.
but that would
it's
be that
something.
much less we'd have to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the ones in town don't register, I don't know. I don't know, Dave, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Okay. Anything else on abatements then? Okay. Moving right along, ZBA appointment discussion. So we have Malcolm Wright is a current full member. His term expires April 1, 2026. We have Michael Bauer. He's an alternate with his term expiring April 2027. And we have to hold the July 8th meeting. The June was canceled, as you all are aware.
The 9th. It would be the July 9th meeting for ZBA.
July 9th? No.
Zoning board's
I think
July
the
9th.
8th.
I posted it. There's 10 hearings that night,
Okay,
2 pages.
okay. All right. So July 9th meeting must be held. We did cancel the June meeting. So we do have several members of the public that have expressed interest to join the board. I do see 2 of them here tonight, and as Mr. Corcoran said earlier, he's one of the 2. I know 2 of these people. They both have prior planning exposure or zoning exposure, either here in this town or in other towns. And I know that they've either watched online or attended in person prior WARE meetings, so they're done more than just fill out the paperwork. So, like I said, both of these gentlemen are here tonight. We also have a 3rd volunteer that I know of, but he's said he has no direct experience, and I think you corresponded with him today.
Yep, we had another one that dropped an application off today that has prior experience as well, but he wasn't aware he could come tonight and be appointed.
Yeah, we didn't,
Okay, we didn't announce that.
yeah, we didn't,
Because we've always made them attend a meeting.
right. Well, there's really no meeting to attend if
Well,
we don't
the
have
July
members.
meeting- The July meeting,
Yeah, but if we don't have enough members,
okay.
we only have 2 members right now. So that's the dilemma.
Right, but we also looked into, I thought one of you people, one
Right.
of the board and
Yep.
temporary was gonna
Yep,
get
that's
us through that
certainly
meeting.
options.
and
So I kind of want to open it up to a discussion, a wider discussion than just one of us. Would you all consider interviewing Mr. Corcoran and Mr. Markarian since they're here and appointing them tonight? We do have the ability to waive the attend the meeting requirement that was written into the policy 10 years ago when that policy was written. It says that we can in fact, modify things. It's written into the introductory section. I believe it says, I don't know what it says, but it says we have the authority to waive those requirements. So what are your thoughts? And then we can still talk about one of us taking a spot on the board as well.
And additionally, if if the meeting is on the 9th, we have our meeting on the 8th and can,
Now, maybe that's why I wrote
there's even,
dated, so,
there's even
sorry.
a
Yeah,
tiny bit more wiggle room.
yeah, we have, but they wouldn't have time to prepare for the meeting. It's a lot to prepare for.
No, no. Yeah, I think we should do some interviews.
Okay. Your thoughts, James?
I agree, we should move forward.
So both have, you said, had some planning, some.
Yes, they can
voting.
explain that to you, but they've either been involved here or in other towns. So
Yeah.
if you guys are open, Mr. Corcoran, would you like to come up first? So could you state your name for the record?
Travis, excuse me, Travis Corcoran, and I've got a brief 1-paragraph intro.
Thank you.
I'm applying to serve on the Ware Zoning Board of Adjustment. I believe that my experience attending multiple ZBA meetings, reading the town zoning code from start to finish multiple times, reading the New Hampshire Office of Planning and Development, NHOPD, Zoning Board of Adjustment Handbook multiple times, reading dozens of New Hampshire Supreme Court cases dealing with zoning laws, and serving in the state legislature where I've read and debated potential changes to the RSAs that control town zoning law make me well qualified for the appointment. Additionally, I've read the Ware Ethics Code and promise to abide by it. Finally, while I know from an earlier RSA 91A request that no previous member of the ZBA has ever passed the New Hampshire Office of Planning and Development Zoning Board of Adjustment Handbook test, I've not only passed it but received a perfect score. And I've got a copy of that.
Okay,
I'm happy to answer any questions.
okay.
When did you take the test?
2 days ago.
Do you have the time? Do you have the time to?
I was about to say, no, I don't. Do I have the time to answer questions?
No, do you have the time to be able to sit on the ZBA?
Yes, I do.
Because it does require some preparation.
Yep.
I think that's why. It's not just attending the meeting.
Right.
Like some of these boards, you can just show up and it'll be okay.
Yep.
There's, as you know, a lot of background that goes into each case that has to be looked at.
I do.
All right. So why do you want to serve? You told us how you're qualified,
Right.
but why?
I believe I first attended a zoning meeting when I first moved to town I moved here in January 2014, and I attended a zoning board meeting a month or two later, and this was in regards to complaints about a alleged commercial firing range that was being operated in someone's backyard. And I was actually there to testify on the behalf of the person who had the firing range. And I'd done business with him, it struck me as reasonable, but watching how the board was run and how sort of conclusions were jumped to with no evidence presented, it seemed a very tilted playing field, and I was sort of surprised and aghast that forms were not being followed. I have had more experience with that myself, including, I believe, in excess of 20 RSA 91A requests, and I just believe that the town of Ware deserves people on the ZBA who will follow the proper procedures and obey the law.
Can you describe what the proper procedures are?
There are a lot of procedures. At a high level, the ZBA has two primary functions. The first one is to consider and approve or deny variances. The second one is appeals of administrative decision made by the town. So an appeal of administrative decision would be something where the building inspector, who is an administrative official, non-elected, had approved or disapproved something. Another one would be where the building department had issued a building permit. I believe that there are other administrative actions, but those are some of them. And there's a multi-step process. And I can also, you probably don't care about it, but I can go so deep into depth on this, on sort of proposed RSAs and who's allowed to challenge it. You have to be materially affected, not merely an existing town member to have standing. Anyway, that's one of the two powers. The other power is to issue variances. Variances may be issued to escape the literal letter of the law as long as the substantive intent of the law is followed. There are 5 prongs here. I certainly have had them memorized. I'm not sure I've got all of them right now. One speaks to literally the intent. One speaks to the lack of adverse impact on others. One speaks to the lack of other easier ways of achieving the goal, and so forth and so on. And some of the prongs have 2 sub-prongs, some are individual, and so that's the high level.
Do you have any business or personal conflicts that might impact your ability to make decisions based on what's best interest for the town?
Having read the town ethics code and seen the form, I'm aware of certain things that would require me to recuse in particular cases, and I take that seriously. But as a general rule, in the general case, I do not do business in the town. I'm not in the building trades. I have not done business with 99.99% of town residents. So I think that there's no particular problem there.
That's all the questions I had.
Thank you.
So you want to take that to a vote before we hear from Mr. Mercarian?
Let's hear them both. That's how we did the...
That's what I thought we did. Kurt? Just state your name.
Kurt Markarian.
Kurt, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to serve on the zoning board and what qualifications you might have?
Sure. I was a resident of Ware from 96 to 2002 before my wife and I moved to Sunapee, where we ran a bed and breakfast for roughly 10 years. While I was there, I became friends with the Water and Sewer Commission, or the Water and Sewer Superintendent, and he persuaded me to become part of the Water and Sewer Commission there. And as such, we had responsibilities, but obviously that type of community Sewer is only in the town itself, not in the outskirts for the most part, but obviously you have town water that, again, primarily serve the town inner circle, if you will. So we had a lot of dealings with that. And then I became a member of the planning board there, served 2 terms there, and worked with the zoning board in parallel. So we did a lot of approvals of what the zoning board had already approved as far as site plans and things like that. But we established the ground rules for what types of businesses could be in the area, what hours they could operate. You know, we worked with them so that when they brought their plans forth, we also worked with them so that they would plan ahead, kind of like the Ilsley type situation that we were talking about earlier. You know, you want to plan ahead, not just for that period of time. So we made sure that anybody that came before us had a good future plan along that would fit into the town structure as well. So that's my background there. I've been back in Ware now since December of 2016. My wife is actually a lifetime resident, if you will, of Ware. She's been here since 1972 for the most part, other than when we lived in Sunapee. So, you know, I know the dealings here. I have been to some of the zoning board meetings as well. I'll say that I wasn't overly impressed with how they were run. You know, a case in point was when a preschool was trying to go into a facility, and some of the requirements that they had set forth upon them for noise reduction, which there is no noise ordinance according to the members that I was talking with, and I was asking them how they were going to enforce a noise ordinance that didn't exist. And yet they wanted this preschool to put up 6-foot barrier in front of the building when all the children would be behind the building. Yet there was a cost associated with that seemed to me to be ridiculous because of a neighbor across the street up on a hill. You know, so I stayed neutral for many years, but I've seen how some of the other dealings have impacted some of my neighbors and things like that, and I thought it would be beneficial for me to be a member of the community. I work outside of the community, so I don't have a ton of interaction here. But I'm willing to put in the time, and I'm a quality engineer, so I play by the rules. That's part of what I do, especially because I deal with medical devices now. I used to work in the contract manufacturing for defense, so rules are very, very important to me, and they're meant to be followed. So.
Do you have the time available
I
to
do.
do this?
I do.
Do you have any business interests or personal conflicts that might impact your ability to make decisions which are solely in the best interest of the town?
I do not, no. And if I did, I would recuse myself from that particular case.
Actually, I have a question for both gentlemen, really. We have the ability to do full or alternate appointments. Are you looking for one or the other?
I would be fine with either.
I'd prefer full.
Okay.
Thank you. And Mr. Markarian, are you aware that there is training available from the New Hampshire Office of Planning and Development specific to Zoning Board of Adjustments?
Yes, I am.
And have you looked at that training?
I have looked at it. I haven't taken the time right now to look at or get into it, but yes, I have looked at it, and I know what's entailed on that, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Would you commit to taking that if you were appointed?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Before the first meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Those were my standard questions. What do you have?
I have nothing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you both stepping up and stepping in.
So how do you handle the other ones that didn't come?
We'll still want to talk to them because we need lots of
I know,
people.
but you had, everybody got the same response, that they had to sit in a meeting.
Yeah.
And now we're waiving it, but for the ones that I've already given that answer to, they're not here tonight.
Right.
One gentleman applied back in May, and he couldn't make May's meeting, and then June we didn't have, so I told him to come to July. I didn't tell him to come tonight, because I didn't know we were gonna even do this.
Right. Well,
So,
we have the
Everybody-
opportunity. I think we should take it.
2 full seats?
Yeah, there's lots of seats left still.
I'm just saying, if had I known, I would have invited him.
Yeah, well, we would have, if we'd known they were showing up too, we would have,
I'm just saying, I mean, you got others as well that are long.
We still want
that put their-
people.
I know, but they
Yeah,
put
really.
their name
I mean,
in
they
we
first.
need
come-
people.
They could come on the 8th,
Yeah,
ahead of the
Okay.
9th meeting.
That's fine. I don't, it's gonna be a lot of, I'll take the heat, but I didn't know we were doing this. Just saying,
I just think we should take the opportunity that's in front of us.
right?
That's
I
all.
mean, if I'd known that, I would have told them to come as well.
Yeah.
Because you have others that are interested as well. And sounds like it's first through the door because we got seats.
I think there's plenty of seats for everybody, if they're,
There's 5 full and 5 alternate that are available.
right, and
So if you give somebody a full seat, then you only get a couple more, is what I'm saying. That's all. Interview all of them is the fair thing, I understand that. But had I known, I would have told them to come tonight.
yeah,
I didn't know we were gonna do this.
How many more are there?
3.
3? I thought there were 2.
One dropped off today, didn't exchange an email. There's one gentleman that applied in May. I told him to come to May. He couldn't when we first put the cry out. He couldn't come for May because he had a conflict. He was gonna come in June. June, the bridge broke. And then basically, he was gonna come to July because that's what he was told he had to do. And then you were part of a swap today because of a gentleman that reached out, gentleman from Reservoir, and then somebody dropped off today, and I told him he had to come to July's meeting. And he has experience as well, not knowing we were gonna do this tonight,
Okay, well,
so.
there's still plenty of spots.
I'm just saying, I just wish I would have known we were gonna do
Yeah,
this.
and we haven't voted to put these 2 gentlemen in, but if we were to vote them affirmatively, there's still more spots than we have applicants. So we're not discounting anybody that's not here tonight. I think we're still giving them 100% fair shake.
No, and I didn't realize you were gonna waive the requirement, or I would have told others to show up as well, because that's what the requirement we've always done.
And that's what our normal process is.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
I agree with that. So, if the board doesn't want to vote tonight and they want to move forward with, next month, I think that's fine, but that does move us back to the discussion of which board member is going to step into the board. So, we can still have that in addition to, it's not an either or, but it's going to be a requirement that we do that, I think, my personal opinion, if we don't put anybody else on the board tonight.
I would feel more comfortable taking the 2 birds in the hand, and then at our 8th meeting, hopefully we'll have more people to talk to, hopefully, add everybody that makes sense to add. And then at the end of the 8th, we'll know if any of us need to.
Yeah, but the 8th
It's gonna be a little
meeting
late to
is-
review 10
is
applications.
going to be less than 24 hours to step in and review 2 pages worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most you can do, if you appoint anyone, they're not gonna be much
True.
much
That's true.
assistance.
I know it's in here somewhere, but I have the agenda.
So we have 3 more, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
It sounded like 3, then you said some dropped off, but we do
No, we have
3
3.
more.
You
dropped off, meaning they dropped off.
dropped off an application, yeah.
So,
They like to participate.
so currently
No,
we
that's right,
have
on top. That's
one-
the agenda.
full position, 1 regular position, we have 1
As far as seats filled, you have 1 regular and 1 alternate
one
filled.
alternate. So we have 4 open right now.
Correct.
So if we have 3 more people, if we assign someone tonight as an alternate, that leaves 3 spots open. And then we can make a decision.
Well, we know at least one of the persons that we would talk to on the 8th has no experience.
Okay.
So
I'm thinking two.
two have no experience.
Yeah.
So even if we
And I-
appointed
and
both
I
of these
shouldn't
as
say that.
full-time,
Maybe they-
So there may be
Here's-
more on the alternate side.
right, they're probably
Okay, that makes sense.
more slated, at least 2 of the 3 for alternates.
So I don't think we're doing anyone a disservice.
Okay, well, we could have solved it and then we could have filled your board and it would have been easier, but I didn't know
Yeah.
we were doing
You didn't
this.
do
I
anything
thought we
wrong.
were talking about temporary assignments.
We still might be talking about that.
Right, and that's where, when we left 2 weeks ago, that's what I thought we were doing, so that's the instructions I was giving everybody that reached out and applied.
No, you're
It's fair.
totally correct.
Okay.
That's what we want to have happen in the scheme of volunteers, sit through, you know. But given where we're at with the planning board, with the zoning board, I think we have an opportunity in front of us tonight that would be good for the town to try and capitalize on, and not diss anybody that is still waiting in the wings.
To that end, I'm
Personal
gonna
opinion.
move that we appoint Travis Corcoran to a full seat on the ZBA. Do we know what terms we have?
You have to do 3.
Yeah, we have Malcolm, I believe is the current member, and as I said, I think he expires in 2026, so a 3-year term would expire in 2027.
Okay, but
But do
have
we
the
have to
ability to
cover
do
the
one.
I
open
believe,
seats?
I guess I thought what NHMA told you, you had to do 3-year seats. Isn't that, I
I think-
forwarded you that information
Yeah.
from the from their
Yeah.
council.
But we have 3 resigned seats. And 2 of those are up next year. And I think 1 the year after. So those can be filled till that term expires.
Yeah.
yeah, because in the response there, I'll just read the whole thing. As provided in the RSA, the term of office, does anybody, I guess this is legal feedback, does anybody have a problem with me reading this?
No, I do not.
Okay. So this is feedback from NHMA. The term of office of an elected or appointed land use board member shall be 3 years, even if a person so appointed agreed to serve on a temporary basis. The term they would be appointed to would still be 3 years. There is no provision for a temporary appointment to a land use board. The person so appointed could voluntarily agree to resign, but that could not be made mandatory. So I think I'm echoing Dave that the term is 3 years, but some of these terms are only, we have a couple of them that are 1 or 2 years left.
We're filling open seats, open resigned seats.
Open resigned seats.
Right.
So maybe a follow-up question, do either of you prefer a 1 or a 3-year term? Did I understand that's what we have? We have a
Yeah,
2-year.
I don't know for sure what they are.
I prefer 3.
Same.
Okay. Well, knowing that we have 2 3-year seats available, so I guess to finish my motion, full seat on the ZBA expiring March,
I think we made the rest of them when we did them April 1.
April, okay, thank you, April 1st, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say yes or yea?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? That motion passes.
I'm going to further move that we appoint Kurt Markarian to a full seat on the ZBA for a term expiring April 1st, 2027.
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
So what does that do with alternating? Don't we have to have alternating seats,
We have to have alternating terms,
terms?
and we still
Yes.
have an open one.
So we got 1 expiring in '26, we have 1 expiring in '27.
Didn't you just do 2 for 27?
No, we've only done one.
Well, we've got one pending. The
Right.
motion I made was
He
also.
was for
So now
27.
we have 2 for '27.
No, we have an alternate for 27.
alternate.
No, no, no.
Who's on first?
Yeah, Naomi's right. 27, and I just made the motion for
The
27.
27.
Yeah, so now
If
we
that's
have,
wrong, I'll amend it.
I don't think
Right,
it
but we
is.
haven't voted affirmatively yet. That's why I was saying
I was thinking Michael was not an alternate, so,
he's an alternate.
yeah, so that's different. So right now, we only have one for 2026. We now have one for 2027.
With a vote
We
for
will
another
not.
one pending.
Have two for 2027. Okay,
Are they both full?
yes.
Okay. Is that clear as mud?
Yes, it is now.
Okay.
And I guess just to be totally clear, it is a 5-member board. It's 5 full, 5 alternates, so we can do, so we're good. Did you second?
I did.
He did. And we asked for further discussion, and that's when Selectman
Nothing's changed.
Pratt asked for clarification on the terms, what we already had. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say yes or yay?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? That motion also passes. So I'm assuming that we don't have any paperwork prepared in your names because we weren't expecting to actually go through and, do this tonight. So what you both will have to do is go over to the town clerk within 5 days and take an oath of office. And then, once we have that completed, we can put you on the email distributions and everything. And just remember that they are closed on Thursday, so don't try and go on Thursday. But you
And
have
Maureen,
5 business
she's not
days.
here this week on Tuesday and Friday, so you got Wednesday.
Is the office open?
The office is open, but there's one person in there,
Yeah, but it could be done? That's a question.
yeah. It couldn't be done tomorrow, because Maureen's not here to do the form. She's got the form in the computer,
Okay.
so it'd have to be Wednesday.
Wednesday, does that work? Is
And
Wednesday
they're
their
open
late
till
day?
7, yeah.
I was gonna say, and that, they're open till 7
Yeah.
PM. Welcome to the wild ride. Thank you both.
Is there anything we need to do to formally waive the first meeting?
I think that us just saying it's enough, because
Okay.
it's our prerogative to do it.
There we go.
We have documentation that'll show that they've been appointed, and we said we were waiving it, so more documentation being the minutes.
Very good.
All right.
If you're a QA engineer, we'll get along really well.
So the other thing might be we still need to discuss whether a selectman's gonna go on that board, full or temporary. And by temporary, I mean, we can agree that if you wanna resign, you resign, kind of thing. We can't appoint you temporarily. But we would continue to look for other people in the meantime. So I don't know if you guys wanna stay for that part of the discussion or not, so.
See how long it goes.
So, I think it would probably be a good idea, since a meeting on July has to happen, and we have 2 new people that we just appointed. That gives us 3 full members plus 1 alternate. I think it would be a good idea to have someone else on that board. Like I said, that's just my opinion.
Well, given that you had the agenda already here, you seem pretty prepared.
Yes, I have it. I'm not sure I'd want to do it, but I could do it.
How about
I
temporarily?
would have to abstain from at least one of the cases that's on here, as would any of you. So I don't see that as a disadvantage. But just putting that out there as a thing. I would be willing to do it, yes. As you guys know, the only board I sit on right now as an ex officio is SIP. So I know this wouldn't be an ex officio position, but just from a time standpoint, I'm just mentioning that. So, but if any of you want to do it, I'm certainly not gonna fight you for it. No.
And frankly, I think since I'm on planning, I think if I were to do it, that would limit us in future potential appointments.
Yeah, I think that might be true. Okay. James, do you want to do it?
I would be unavailable for that first meeting, but I could probably do it going forward.
Okay. All right. Probably, or do you want to? Different question.
Let me think about that a little bit.
Okay. You probably have the most direct experience working with the zoning board.
Yeah. It's not my purview, of something that I really wanna
Okay.
dive
It's the
into.
same question, do you want to? Okay. Your time's up.
Oh. I will fill in for the foreseeable future for that.
Okay. So that still leaves us with the problem of June 8th only, or 9th, July 9th, only having 4 people plus 1 alternate to hold that meeting. So that means no one else can call in sick or vacation. You guys are committed to being there on the 9th?
I'm an introvert, I never leave town.
Thoughts?
Can we, I'm thinking about planning, like, I'm the ex officio, you're the ex officio alternate, that is spelled out in the RSA.
Right.
Can we do the same thing?
This is not an ex officio position we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is appointment to a board.
Yeah.
You're a resident at that point.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, though. Could say, as a backup.
Well, then you would have to appoint James as a full and me as an alternate.
That's what I'm thinking.
Um, I hadn't thought
And
about
then-
that, but I guess it would work.
And then as we add people, I mean, I hope adding people on the 8th, I understand not prepared for the 9th, but adding people on the 8th, then y'all can start kind of peeling off. And it's just a race for who resigns first.
He's cracking his knuckles. Okay, all seriousness. It's a very important position, and we have to hold the meeting on the 9th of July. So, that's my concern is, first and foremost, that.
Yep. Yep. That's why I would propose full and alternate.
Okay. Thoughts?
I'm fine with that decision. That's what it is.
Okay, you gonna make a motion?
Benji's not here, let's make him do it.
There you go.
With his work schedule, I don't think that would solve our problem.
Not really.
I'm sure he'd be very capable of doing it, but it wouldn't solve the need to be there in the meeting problem.
Okay, so I move that we appoint James Drury to a 1-year term on the ZBA in a full capacity with a term expiring April 1st, 2025.
Full?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes or yay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain?
I'll abstain.
Okay.
Not opposed, though.
No.
Okay, the motion passes. Okay. Next.
All right, I'll move that we appoint Janice Matthews to the ZBA as an alternate with a term expiring April 1, 2025.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say yes or yay.
Yes.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? That would be myself. Motion carries. Okay, so we have a full board seated for the 9th, is that correct? No.
For
4.
alternates.
You have four.
Four,
That's
okay.
not a full.
4, but we have a quorum. Okay,
Four full, 2 alternates,
okay. All right,
with 3 more.
with 3 more pending.
And I guess just to restate, the intent is for you two to get off as soon as possible,
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
just to reduce, conflicts and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could decide not to, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a ex officio thing, so, you can stay on it if you want, but I think we have an understanding that if we get qualified members in your place, you're welcome to step down. But we also want to make sure that there's enough continuity, and lap over or anything like that. All right.
Out here?
He's here.
Uh-huh.
I emailed you guys 3 weeks ago, and I was told to bring Betty on this, tonight on the 17th, for the cemetery, for the Melbourne Hall bequest.
I said you have to have a public hearing.
Hmm?
Who did you email? Because I didn't get an email.
I emailed everyone.
Yeah, I didn't know it was on the agenda because I think we have to have a public hearing to accept the money.
I wasn't on the email, so I didn't see it. I didn't see an email for a public hearing.
No, it didn't say public hearing. It just said, so I don't think we can legally do it tonight, Sherry.
All right.
So we'll need to schedule that.
Can you forward it?
Yeah, I'll find
Was it
it.
to all you guys?
I think it went to everybody.
I was thinking I did it to you too, Naomi, maybe I didn't. But I thought I did.
I thought you did because you contacted me and I said, contact Naomi because this needs to be on the
Yeah,
agenda.
you told me it was coming, but I was waiting for the email.
Okay,
I just don't know where it is.
okay. All right, sorry, we can't,
Do anything then,
no.
so,
We appreciate the fact that you want to give us money. We're not saying we don't want it. There's just a process in which we have to go through to formally accept it.
Yeah, the last email I have from Sherry is 12/7/23.
Well, that wouldn't have come, it would have come from her personal email.
Yeah,
Because she
that's
doesn't
what I had. I
have
just put that in, not the other one.
Okay,
I just forwarded that.
okay, thank you.
Takes a long time to get to the next second on this side of the table.
Ah,
Did you forward it? There it is.
I did. It may take,
Oh, I see. Use the .nh.gov, so that's why I didn't get it. It's that where.nh.gov, we don't use that anymore. It only forwarded, I didn't get it. And then the rest of them looks like some of them are personal emails.
Yep.
this weekend's already.
Okay.
Sorry.
I mean,
Sorry
can we,
about that.
well, can we commit to maybe the 8th while she's sitting here?
I think
Set
so.
the agenda for the 8th.
Yeah. Can you make July 8th? Do you know?
As far as I know, unless something comes up, I do have a death in the family, so may or may not be available, but we'll plan on that.
Okay. I mean, if you're not here, can we get somebody else to get Betty here? Because
Yeah.
she's the one that has to be here.
Right,
She's the one giving us the money, right?
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. July 8th work for you, Betty?
I don't have a calendar with me right a minute. Let me see, I'll just see. This has not been a good day. Where's my? No.
July. You'll be able to check on your calendar at home, and
Yeah.
if there's a conflict, just call Naomi, let her know.
So this would be the 8th.
Yeah.
Call before midnight.
You won't be here?
You won't be here?
You gotta call before midnight.
Before midnight
Tonight.
tonight? Oh,
I mean, are we able to cancel a public hearing?
You can schedule it and just, you'll have to reschedule it, that's all.
I think
It's easier to
that's
schedule than
Yeah.
not have it on there and then scramble.
reasonable.
just schedule it and get it in.
Move it if we have to.
It should be all right, Betty. You double check when you get home. Yeah, we'll go on. You double check. If there's a problem, let me know.
Okay. All right. So are we complete with the ZBA appointment discussion? We've got the folks coming on the 8th. We've got appointments we made tonight. We've got a selectman moving into a position. Are we good with anything else we need to talk about regarding the ZBA this evening?
I think we're in a good place.
Much better than I thought we'd be. Anything else? ZBA? ZBA? Okay. All right, so we have manifest next.
This young man's waiting to interview with Park and Rec, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a non-public, so we have to do that at the end. So, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payable checks dated June 20, 2024, as included in the following manifests. Payroll, $77,725.70. Accounts payable manifest, $106,940.52. Where school accounts payable manifest, $461,437 even, for a total of $646,103.22. The following manifests were previously ordered to be signed at the June 3rd Board of Selectmen meetings. Payroll manifest of $76,880.45. Accounts payable manifest, $37,279.83. And as there are no Board of Selectmen meetings scheduled for Monday, June 24th, nor July 1st, I also would order the treasurer to sign the payroll checks dated 27 June and 3 July 2024, estimated to be approximately $190,000. Further, order the treasurer to sign up to an amount of $160,000 for accounts payable that cannot wait until our next scheduled meeting on July 8th. Reports and actual check amounts will be reported to the Board of Selectmen by inclusion in the manifest memo at the next scheduled meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say yes or yay.
Yes?
Yes. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion carries. Okay. That brings us to the minutes of 6:3. If I'm not mistaken, those just went out today. So,
I didn't read them.
I was gonna say, I know I haven't looked at them, so we'll need to move those off for the next meeting. And then administrator report is the next thing on the list.
Alright, so I'm gonna pass down, there's the State of New Hampshire Department of Revenue Administration. I don't know if you're familiar, how long you guys have been around here, but we used to do a PA 38 form sent to every home, asked you what you did, if you made any changes to your home, but now that we have the building inspector and Avatar, we do not do the forms and we will not do them. We sign that every year.
Just telling them we don't
Tell them
do
that
it.
we don't do it, so they're not looking for them. And then I'm also gonna pass down, there's 2 oaths of office that Maureen had provided with me for the the library trustees that we appointed, so they just need your signature on the bottom.
Okay.
Do we have a building inspector now? Okay,
We can talk under B.
okay. Well, that, when you said, now that we have a building inspector, I was like, oh, okay.
No, I said we have a building inspector. We've always had a
Just a
building
position.
inspector and
Yes.
a position, sorry about that. I know we get one of those forms and it asks you if you've made any changes since April 1st, you sign it and send it back. That's because they don't have any such thing. All right, so first one's a mood issue. We've already taken care of. You've already done the abatements. George Merrill, we took care of. The interim fire chief, we'll have a finalized order with July 8th. You did the RFPs. I sent to you today the building permits issued through 6/17, as well as the May legal bill. For the next meeting, I already have those items that you see there, which is award paving, reclaiming and tree cutting for DPW, and the cement base for the radio tower for the PD, and then we also.
Do you mind if I interject?
Sure.
It's just because it reminded me. We had the guy at the end of the last meeting did a public comment, and he talked about all the trees that were marked, and I drove over there, and I totally agree with him. And I was wondering, and I saw the RFP go out, like, how did we get to that?
How do you what?
Who made the decision
Right, I guess
that
so.
those trees are the ones that need to be taken down? Is that
Yeah.
your question?
Because, I mean, it ended up being 60-something trees?
47.
Okay. Yeah, and, I mean, his comment was, if you cut all the trees down that are marked, there will no longer be a pine grove. And I agree with what he said. So, I guess, yeah, before we get to that point, where we're, awarding RFPs for a whole bunch of them,
Right, and so
It seems aggressive to
he
me.
would bring that forward with any bids that you get, and you could have that conversation. Because we were all supposed to go take a look. I don't know if everybody did. A good share of them are dead. So what happens when the dead ones fall down on the,
sure.
I
Yeah,
think that's what his,
that's what I
that's what
couldn't
his
discern.
concern
There's
was.
a tree
That's
line.
why he tagged him the way he tagged him.
Yeah, I don't know what's,
And,
Which way?
and there's a
So-
lot of, my in-laws are in the Pine Grove Cemetery, and there was a ton of trees in the Pine Grove, because joke was, that's where she was, the pine tree, and it's not there anymore. But there was a lot inside the cemetery. I understand what he's saying, but there was a lot inside the cemetery that had been removed as well. But I think they were tagged for a reason, because he thought they were dangerous. That's why Jason put those on there.
Yeah, and I get, a large number of them. I'm just curious, are we gonna hit the 8? Be like, yep, we're committing to cutting all these down when,
Well, the bids are due, whether you get any or not.
Yeah.
He's coming in for other things, so I guess you could have that. You don't have to accept the bid, I guess, if you don't want to.
we could also ask a volunteer to buy us some new pine tree saplings. I'd be willing to do that, if we can get somebody to plant them.
yeah.
It's not anything, that would be a pine tree today or 5 years from now, but it would be in 10 or more.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you can discuss it when you see what you get. I don't know, funding is gonna be an issue,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of money.
Right.
Which was another part of it, like, okay, is there a middle ground where we don't cut as many trees down, so it's still, a lot of pine trees, and we don't have to spend as much money? So, I just wanted to ask before we hit
Yeah.
July 8th,
Yeah,
and
he's already, I think,
get back to 2 o'clock.
he's already put them out, and we'll see what we get. And I don't know if you'll get some or not.
Okay.
It's hard to say. And it may be, obviously, cost is gonna be another. We're on default. Where are we gonna get it from?
Yep.
So the concrete base, we're gonna get awards, that concrete to do the base station at the east-west station. Also, legal bids are due same night. And then I have 2 cemetery trustee appointments right now. I don't have a third one. I know we were looking for 3, but I know 2 people have filled out forms and I have them on my desk. Waiting on a third. I thought was to do that, because if you look at, the idea was to do that and then we could attend the training. So hopefully whoever the third one was interested is gonna come forward. We also scheduled the work session for the Forester for 7 o'clock on the 17th, which is that work session for CC and BOS. Still working on CBA. I have a discretionary easement that we've got to finalize that you did the public hearing on last week. We will have, for the interim fire chief agreement / discussion for the 8th. Anti-terrorism, we moved to August. The energy committee, I put July because it had June. I don't know what we're doing with that. You got an
I
email.
want to talk
You've
about that when
also,
we get to
yeah,
other
you
as
also got an
well.
email to that.
Yep.
I did the person that we wrote the letters to on Sewell Hoyt Road has called me twice. She's working on cleaning it up.
Oh, good.
Older woman, gonna take a little time. She knows what she's gotta do, but she's gonna check in with me in a couple of weeks and let me know how she's made out. We can see what the progress is at that point.
Wonderful.
Accident reviews, I never heard back from the 2 fire. I'm just gonna
Yeah, I think we can remove that at this point.
the next one, East Road, we can skip, review building permit leases. I didn't change anything more until we get down to the right to know requests, and I did reply to those 13 right to know requests today, this afternoon. So
How
that's
big of a response was that? I'm just curious. Was
I-
it a lot of
what I did is
information or a little or in between?
No, according to the right to know, all I gotta do is direct them where to find it. So basically what we did is, the question was asked, how it was funded, where it was funded. So we just pointed to town meeting, warrant article.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, I
it
didn't know
was
if we
just
had
a one,
volumes
it
of
was a
stuff.
one, maybe one paragraph that told you where to find the information, and then we attached some minutes that would have been a little bit harder to find, so.
Okay.
But all, 2 of them have no response, because it was verbal conversations, and I don't, how do you take a verbal conversation? That's all I've really changed on that. Jason's working on his PBN, and probably on the 8th, you'll get an update on where we are with the bridge as well, because the next phase for the dollar amount is being worked on as well. The state is going back and forth with the contractor. He had some questions as to what would be acceptable to, can they close it down for 9 months? Can they, what they won't pay for, what they will pay for, because there was some mixed answer. So we'll have that ironed out, and Jason should be able to give a good update on the 8th.
Okay.
I know that's a quick rundown, but I know we've got this young man here too, so.
Have we heard anything back from,
The IT
IT
man,
guy.
I
okay,
thought of that today when I
Yeah.
was in the car with you.
yeah, do you want me to send him a follow-up since you're
Yeah, if
going
you
on
don't mind,
vacation?
yeah. Easier from you too.
Okay. All right. And just a stupid question, do our keys open all the doors or only the back door?
The fob that you have opens the back door.
Right, but the key, does it open all doors?
No,
What,
No,
what
I
door
don't
does
have
it open,
access.
just that
just
conference room?
outside my door.
Okay, with you being gone, who has a key that opens the building? Okay, so,
She does.
okay,
She'll be here. She's planning on being here.
all right. Because I thought the prior chair had one.
He may have, and he turned it in. I didn't give it to anybody.
Okay.
I can give you one. It's not a big deal to me.
That would be
Okay.
a good peace of mind, I think,
Yeah.
for one of us to have it,
Okay.
since you're gonna be so far away.
I'll just put it in your mailbox.
That'd be fine. Thank you. And you were gonna get us some cell phone contacts up to
Yeah.
date for personnel?
Yeah, I'm staying after tonight's meeting and get done what I gotta get done.
Okay.
so.
All right.
I think some of you have most of them, but
Yeah, but the one I have is like 7, 8 months old now at this point, so I wanna make sure that,
the,
like,
the only one that you may not have is Chief Rorick's.
might not.
Mr. Moore, Chief Moore stayed the same, Jason's got the same one.
Okay.
So it would just be Chief.
Anything else on the administrator's report? It was a busy week for correspondence, or 2 weeks for correspondence, and we had the carryover from Isley's parking from the week, or the meeting before. I keep saying the week before. Need to get out of that habit. So I'll start with Isley's. at the board request, you sent over the information related to the 2013 initial site plan info. The prior attempts to regulate the street parking seem to have been unfruitful, and the business has also placed no parking signs on one side of the street, which technically aren't enforceable, but nobody was paying attention to them anyway, so. The initial planning board site information that we got emailed to us, because we wanted to see what discussions and agreements they had talked about for parking. I don't know if you've all reviewed it, but if not, I'll just tell you what I think I saw in it. The planning board talked about it on June 27th, 2013. We have planning board draft minutes from that date. I don't know why this town can't get approved minutes posted, but that's a different discussion. Site plan review had parking to be off the road and at least 25 feet from the property line and 75 feet from Sugar Hill Road. The accompanied drawing had 7 off-street parking spots in it. So I looked at the zoning ordinance, which I don't know what it actually said back in 2013. All I can tell you is what it says now. So we'd have to do some research to see what it said in 2013. But today, it says in paragraph 18.3.1 that in a rural agricultural district, there is only off-street parking allowed in all cases. So I don't know if it's, do you have any recollection whether that's something that has been changed over the years, just from your knowledge of
It's
what's
not ringing
going
a
on?
bell.
Yeah,
I don't,
all right. So, again, I don't know if that's the same wording that was back in the ordinance in 2013, just be completely clear, that's what it says today. I don't know if that's what it said in 13, so we need to do a little more investigation on that. But, I've heard unofficial people talking about the parking as well, so I'm thinking that, is there anything that this board can do or the town can do regarding the parking is a good conversation to have.
well, Chief Moore suggested a public hearing, because those signs are not legal on the other side of the road.
Right.
So he can't do anything about those no parking
No,
signs,
and-
people can park right in front of it.
Yeah.
So, because she put them up there, because it's an abuttering neighbor's property, it's not hers.
Right.
So those were put up there to try to keep traffic from being on both sides, but as Chief Moore had mentioned, those are not legal.
Yep.
They have to go through a public hearing. He also suggested the public hearing in his email to you, indicating, you know, where and when no parking signs could be put. But it would require a public hearing to enforce it.
And just to make it clear, the issue that I was talking about, even if that sign was officially posted, my concerns are still present. Because even if one side's
To
not,
be able to pass.
because you can't have two-way traffic, and people are still threatening me and doing whatnot, so even if you did post one side, I'm coming back to again the very next meeting to complain again, because it's, that's not the problem. Even if those signs are valid, and people don't park there normally, but obviously 9% they don't. My concerns I brought earlier were, even if that one side was officially posted and enforced, my concerns are still the same. It's because the road's not wide enough to handle that amount of off-street or on-street parking for that business. Because literally, I mean, they can be like 30 cars plus down there. And I know the guy that's passed it brings his car up because people tear up his driveway and turn around, and there's a bunch of other. So that one side being no parking wouldn't be a valid solution to me, because it's my concerns are still there. It doesn't negate anything.
Yeah, I mean, we're there at least once a week, and anecdotally, I can second everything he's saying, that it's extremely busy.
And I'm glad they're
With
busy.
people parked on, I know,
I'm
that's the hard
nothing
part.
against Isley, nothing against Isley. It's just that road wasn't designed to handle a business like that on it.
Yeah.
You know, and when they first started, it was all, like I said, all off-street parking, and I don't think in 10 years a lot changed either. But the day.
Yeah, I don't know that it has, and I don't know that it hasn't. I just don't want anyone to interpret that I'm saying it's the same.
Assuming that it
Yeah.
had changed,
Yeah.
they had 7 in the lot and no street. And I can surely, because I go there, I usually walk with my kids, there's probably at least double that in that lot. And then You take 15 cars in a lot, and there's double that on the street. So, and the problem is just with that length of traffic, the only thing that would honestly help it, because people are still gonna go to it unless they move to a different location on the farm or whatever they need to do, or whatever, you would have to post both sides, no parking. And they would have to open up the gate, cause I mean, and they could theoretically, they could, I don't know, I know it's like siblings and there was a rivalry that Ricky was talking about and whatnot, but there's plenty of land for them to put those cars in a field.
Yeah, I don't know how much land that business owns.
Yeah, because I know it got separated
I didn't
amongst
get
the
into that
family and
level of
whatnot,
detail.
but the problem is, if both sides aren't posted, then we're still gonna fall into the trap of the problem that we're having now. Not that I don't want to seem to be successful, but this trap is still gonna be there, so even if they had off-street parking, people are notoriously always take the easier option, and they're just gonna park on the road.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's, the problem's still not gonna go away, even if the one side was legally posted.
Yeah, thank you for that additional
Yeah.
clarification, Mr. Realpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like things that we can do would be to just post the road as no parking within, either for the whole road or for a portion of it. I think before we go that route, I'd certainly like to talk to.
You still have to have a public hearing to post the road.
Absolutely.
Whatever you decide at the end of the public hearing is your decision.
But before we get to that point, though, I would like to have a discussion with them and find out what they can do to, if they can
They
increase.
may already have plans to
Yeah.
increase their parking, I don't know.
And what can we do that would facilitate that to them? So having a conversation with the business first, and saying if it requires if it requires something different to allow them to increase their parking, I think that would be more beneficial, at least as a starting point.
That could be, I mean, that could just be part of the public hearing.
It could be,
Yeah, they'd certainly be invited
Like,
to.
maybe, I don't know, like, just assume there's not gonna be an outcome necessarily. Just do one of just information gathering. I don't know, but then we delay anything weeks.
Yeah, then in order to actually make the change, you'd have to have a public hearing.
Yeah.
So you're essentially saying have two public hearings to make one decision.
Yeah, I think it's going to put them in a bind, which I don't think anybody wants for them, but there is an issue with,
Yeah, I don't want that for them either, it's just an issue for safety and whatnot, people are starting, unfortunately, post-pandemic, their nerves are kinda, and like I said, I had to call, cause I was threatened with my kids in the car, so, and that's not a first-time occurrence for me either, that's happened. I don't want them to, but my safety also matters too, and my kids, and ease of access for emergency vehicles to get to my house if I need it.
absolutely.
The problem is that the detriment of their own good, they got so good, it's causing a huge issue because they weren't supposed to have any cars parked on the road for the business. For the last, and now I would say at least 66% of the cars that go to the business are on the road.
I can't comment because I don't,
No, I mean, just assuming that obviously those facts could change depending what the research finds, but just assuming, that that's accurate. 2/3 of the parking is on the road, which.
yeah, all I know is, we've had your complaints and I've heard from other people, not in an official capacity, but unofficially, hey, parking there stinks and getting through the road stinks. I've heard that, but
Right. So you've convinced me that scheduling a public forum, but certainly making sure that they are invited to have the conversation, not be talked about.
yeah, I would insist that happen as well.
Has the town ever sent official notice that there's complaints and problems? I'm assuming that's a yes, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
we've done it recently.
Sent what?
Just
Sent a notice of
notifying
complaint.
someone that there's a complaint.
well, but specifically to them, you're saying?
Yeah.
Not
Right.
generally. Okay, I thought
No,
you were
yeah.
taking a general case that we have.
No,
Okay.
not to them.
Oh, right,
We
that's
are.
your question, right?
No,
To-
no, has the town ever sent anything
To
directly?
them, no, not them directly. Is that what you mean?
But we have done it when other complaints about other things, sent it to the person that was complained about.
Right.
And they've taken action on it. But that has nothing to do with Isley's Ice Cream. So it was just an example of
Right.
a complaint
So
was
I guess
made, it
that's-
was forwarded to the person that got the complaint was levied against, and they're taking action. But again, that was not Isley's parking.
Right, so should we be taking the action to at least make the notification?
I think that's a good first step.
Many complaints.
I mean, we can forward it to them, but,
Well,
I mean, if you're gonna have a
they're
public
already-
hearing,
So they're supposed to be 75 feet from the road. It was the park, the original site plan. I was looking for it, I couldn't find it. But,
Yeah.
so that isn't true.
Site plan review had the parking to be all off-road and at least 25 feet from the property line and 75 feet from South Sugar Hill Road.
Which
The
was, which looks-
drawing-
the original
That
drawing looked
drawing.
that way.
The drawing showed 7 off-street
Right,
spots.
but now it's parked up to the road, both sides.
I don't know.
It is.
I haven't been, so.
Yeah, because they have the road, the wall that's like a couple of feet from the road, and there's a spot right on the other side of the wall. I would say they're probably parked within 7 feet of the road, the first car. And both sides, he's right. I mean, one side's longer than the other because of the building, but yeah, they are both sides.
Okay.
So it'd be nice to know, hey, we had these complaints, you're outside of the original site plan. Do you have any plans for addressing any of this? It'd be nice to at least allow them an opportunity.
I would, I mean, honestly, recommend is like send that notice saying, hey, this was the original site plan.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you. We need to have this discussion, not us and you.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. Appreciate you understanding that.
But I know this has been a topic for over a year. I've been to some of the meetings while we're talking about it. And it's not fair if no one's officially said
Yeah.
anything to the company
Yeah.
itself.
It's true.
Yeah, other than they seem to be aware of it by putting up some, some unofficial.
They're making whatever adjustments they
But
can.
yes, I think, again,
I think it's gotta be more of a plan. They should be prompted to start that.
so if we draft a letter indicating that there are complaints about the traffic that is on the, or the parking that's on there that's impeding traffic, that we would like to have a conversation with them, or, to have some information about what they can do to mitigate, what can we do to help. And meanwhile, we're going to be having a public hearing about the posting of no parking on that road.
Well, do we need to have a public hearing? If we're starting there, and maybe they end up finding a way to resolve it, and then we're set.
I would love that. I thought I heard we were moving towards scheduling.
the chief's
No.
point was he can't
You can't
enforce
enforce a no parking.
anybody parking there because we don't have the no parking.
Okay.
So they can park there, they can yard sale, they can do whatever. I think his point was, if you're going to put no parking, you should have a public hearing.
I agree with that.
So, I think his point was, start with your public hearing, get your input.
I guess
That's what I got.
it's tough. I'm worried that we are going to, if we do a public hearing and we say, okay, everything's posted, no parking, we've suddenly gone from, for this business that we have not notified in any way, then we're suddenly gonna say, nobody, you cannot have as many customers as you are used to, I don't know what kind of material they've already purchased, what are we gonna do to a business in town? And I understand the flip side of it, of restricting access to the houses down that road.
You've clearly enunciated it a little bit better than I did originally when I said I wanted to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's
before
why I
we-
liked
Before we
Dave's
went to
idea.
it.
I'd like, start with a notification, see if they have already thought about this, like what, before we just punch them in the mouth.
Agreed.
And I guess I would ask the town administrator, since you are going on vacation, do you have an opinion on how best to get a letter to them? Like,
Is that something someone else can do in your absence?
Just draft a letter and drop it in the mail.
okay.
I mean, I don't know.
Or is it worth waiting, or is it something, I mean, we have the one that we just sent a couple weeks ago. Is it quick enough to edit an existing one?
The one you sent a couple weeks ago to who?
They since said they're gonna put up the fence and whatnot, do a cleanup.
Oh,
It was
that,
maybe a month or so
yeah,
ago.
that was,
month or
that
two.
was a while ago.
I'm just
to let
thinking,
him know that-
drop in some
To
details.
let them know we received a complaint
Right,
and see what he wants,
Right.
see what they want
I
to
guess
do.
what I'm really asking is, since you won't be here, how much do you wanna be in the loop?
Well, I would hope I would be in the loop in whatever you do. so
Right,
that
that's not what I
don't
mean.
No, I think
I
he's
mean-
asking, if I may, he's asking, are you going to draft it, or do you want one of us to draft it?
Told
Because
him-
you're going to be gone.
I mean, I can draft it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna stay tonight until whenever. It could be tomorrow.
Okay.
I gotta get stuff done, so.
I hate to ask you to do that, but I
Yeah.
It's just
completely
part
understand
of
that you.
life. That's part of life.
Okay. Good? Good? All right.
Can I ask a quick question? Just because we're here for 8:30, and I know that there's no guarantees on time, but any idea about how much longer before you'd go into non-public?
My guess is another 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
Sorry, Lisa.
It's okay, we've been in a hayfield all day and we're both like
Okay.
ready to keel over.
Yeah, we don't meet again until the 8th of July,
I know.
so I think that would not help you as far
It's
as
not gonna
staffing.
make me happy because Kristen's already not happy. It's okay.
Yeah, okay,
So that one, we'll draft a letter and we'll send it out.
okay.
Yep.
All right, I'll just move through. I have a couple here. Town clerk notified us that the town moderator resigned because he's moved out of town. The supervisor of the checklists appoint the new moderator, and for those that want to look that up, it's RSA 40 and RSA 659. That appointment would be through the next election, which is March of 2025, where it goes on the ballot for any unexpired term, if there is any, which I believe it would be 1 year remaining on that term. The supervisors have put out a call for volunteers. Anyone interested in assuming the position, again, through the March 2025 elections, should contact the town clerk by July 19th. So I didn't see this on the base page of our website, but I know it went out to the broadcast, so hopefully it's gone out to enough people.
I think it's on the front page.
It is? Okay, good. It is there. Okay.
You had one more on Peasley Hill Road?
Yep, I have two more, actually,
Okay.
or maybe three. Tom Quinn of Peasley Hill had correspondence with us regarding the volume of truck traffic and associated noise on that road due to the weight restrictions we've imposed on the River Road Bridge, or that have been imposed upon us, I guess is a better phrase of it. I don't know that there's a good workaround to that. And is there one?
Trucks would have to take the long route.
All the way up to 77, all the way.
So have we officially taken down the no truck things on Peasley Hill? We did? Okay, I thought we did. Okay.
Yeah. I was there just a couple days ago.
Okay.
And there's like a speed limit sign, and there's a big empty spot on a
Okay.
post right above it.
All right, gotcha.
So at least coming from River Road.
Okay.
And if we put them back, I'm assuming that would be a lot of mileage to trucks.
So we had a complaint last year, and we kind of talked, I don't think we spent more than what we're doing right now on it, and it was gonna be a lot.
I guess I'll circle back to the question, is there anything we can do about it?
What is the bridge timeline? There's one to repair and one to replace?
I don't know what the timeline is.
Yeah, we don't
We
have
were
a-
ready to go, but we got chopped off at the knees at the state level when they told us we had to spend a few grand to make our own certification, and then I don't think it's gotten there yet.
But the repair work was done, it's just a matter of the
Certification.
The certification hasn't
They
been
want someone
lifted.
else's stamp on it.
The weight limit is still imposed by the state.
moved forward with that, it just hasn't
Reduced
been
weight
done.
limit.
That's- okay.
And then you're gonna be closing it to fix it, you know?
So maybe this is something we can ask Jason to talk with us about when he comes in next. Is there anything else we can do?
What was the expected date to start working that? It was next fall.
I think the money doesn't start till July 25.
Usually it's paid, right?
Yeah, they're paid,
I was thinking, because Buzzell Hill's not,
no.
that's, I mean, it's rough too. Often rough.
So what do you wanna respond? Or do you wanna respond, talk to Jason, or how do you wanna do it?
I think we need to ask Jason if there's anything he knows of that we can do. The next time he's here.
We could respond to that effect.
Right.
And say, at least say this is the day we're gonna be talking to our DPW director. Person feels like tuning in.
Okay. Mr. Butts corresponded with us regarding an unofficial energy club using the town seal and has asked that the BOS consider a cease and desist directive. You guys know that Mr. Erickson's been before us a few times. Mr. Butts also been here talking to the talking about the committee during public comment. Mr. Erickson's provided documentation where a prior board, I believe he said, authorized them as a temporary or some other vernacular of an entity, but I never took a copy of that. Did any of you?
Didn't know.
I think I did, but I don't have.
All I have are the,
Was this bullet note points?
yeah, his bullet points from the last meeting, and then the 4 or so things that Mr. Butt gave us the meeting before last. Those are the only 2 things I have. But I know Mr. Erickson at least verbally said that there was some kind of temporary authorization granted to them.
Yeah, they were able to, or we got a membership to the clean energy. The town of Ware bought a clean energy membership.
Uh-huh.
That's where we
And
went.
it was like some board motion at some point.
Right, it was to give them the opportunity to gather information and be members and go see what other communities are doing, and then they provided some help through this clean energy group.
And they were listed as whatever the, where,
Yeah, I think they were listed that way. But no, we had a town seal policy that we got rid of.
Yeah, so do you have any idea what time frame that was clean energy membership was bought, and is it still valid?
No, it expired.
Okay, did expire. Because I looked through the minutes from like the last 10 years, I think,
Yeah, no, it
everything
would've-
that's on the website.
It would have
and-
been a couple of years ago at the most, maybe a year.
Okay.
We've talked about it for about 2 years.
I only found one reference to Aware Energy Committee, and it was from July 24th of 2023. I saw nothing other than that.
Couple years, yeah.
And Chairman Hippler said the only thing he was going to bring up under correspondence is the NH Energy Expo. It is in Dunbarton and is sponsored by Bo Dunbarton and Aware Energy Committees. It will be held on Saturday, October 14th, 2023 at the Dunbarton Elementary School. They will be speaking about how to do your energy heat pumps and other low-energy costs. It is 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. That is the only reference to Aware Energy Committee I found in the last 10 years in the minutes.
That was a couple of years ago, right? Yeah,
Last
about that.
Well, that was last year, 2023.
Yeah, I spent many times trying to get them to come in to talk to us.
Yeah. So, I guess the first question is, does this board recognize them as a temporary committee when I can't find it documented that they're a committee on our website or in minutes showing that they were temporarily formed? Good information about the membership to Clean Energy, but it's expired. And then,
There was, I don't remember when it switched, but we were, because it was on your admin report like all last year, but it was the solar committee.
Yeah, I
Right?
called it solar.
Right, so
Right.
if you're searching minutes,
It could be solar.
Ah, okay, I didn't do
Yeah,
that.
it was on there for solar, because then it was all of a sudden changed.
Okay.
Then we started talking about,
Yeah.
community power and whatnot.
Okay, I searched for energy.
No,
I did
solar.
not search for
That's a
solar.
good point,
Okay,
Jill.
all right. And then, second point is, Mr. Butts previously suggested that we dialogue with the committee and provide them guidance on their charter, but he's suggesting we do that before we even set up a committee. So we can't select members and discuss a charter before we've actually formed a committee. And I know prior board had discussions about formally generating the committee, but they deferred that actual vote to us. We did have it on our agenda a few months ago. We didn't actually go through with it because our meeting ran really long, so, but the meeting before that, we had Mr. Erickson in and talked to us, so it's something we've been talking around, but we never actually have done anything with, so does this board want to formally put it back on the agenda to talk about the formation of an energy committee or commission and put it to a vote?
I think it's worth talking about again, and I haven't thought about it in a while. The last I was thinking about it, I liked Mr. Butt, he made those initial remarks, brought up a lot of good points, and he suggested, hey, why don't you do a temporary and give them a targeted thing? And people keep asking me about community power, and so that's what I'm interested in seeing, is can they form, can they operate, start temporary, achieve this goal, and then, if there's enough need, become permanent. So, and I don't want to, maybe I shouldn't have even said that now, because I'm now going to say I don't want to talk about it, because it's getting late and we have folks waiting.
Well, that's the
But-
question is just, do we want to talk about it at some point in the future? I mean, I don't necessarily want to talk about it tonight either, but do we want to continue with this, or do we want to just say, this is done? We're not going to do it, so let's quit talking about it.
I would like to talk about a temporary one.
I don't think I want to squelch it.
Okay.
I'm not terribly in favor of it, but it's worth having a conversation.
Okay, all right. So at some point, we'll need to put that on the agenda for more discussion. Okay. All right, that's all I had from correspondence. What does everybody else have?
Nothing.
Any other items?
Park had their official vote this week, so we have new president and everything, so that's official now.
Yeah, saw the video. They're still working on their bylaws and things, right?
Yes.
Good.
It does remind me I should give a planning update. And really the most pertinent feedback is that we had asked them to review the engineering RFP. They had some feedback, and then there was apparently a misunderstanding of what we asked of them, and they asked for a couple more weeks. I thought our meeting was on July 1st. So I looked it up live. We didn't have it on this agenda, and so I committed to, sure, that's fine. So they, I think, have the understanding that they will have it done at their next meeting, which is before the 1st, which is of course before the 8th. So we should be able to, if we choose to, talk about it on the 8th.
Yeah, well, they're one of the largest users of the town engineer, so, and I understand that, not all of the uses we pay for directly, but it's still a use. They have to interface. It'd be good to make sure that all their key care abouts are captured.
I think that is understood now.
Good. Good. Okay.
Saw HB 1069, the right to know bill, get killed in the Senate.
You did, I heard
Yeah,
that this
so-
weekend.
Yep, for now.
So what you asked
Out of
was, but
state?
it got killed in the
Okay.
Senate.
Okay.
It passed the House, but not the Senate.
And that was strictly just out-of-state request, right?
Well, it added, it could be any entity, not
Okay.
just a resident, so, yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
or something, some verbiage like that. Dehumidifier in the basement,
It's on, it's in,
all right.
we installed it.
Really?
Mm.
That's great.
Sugar Hill Road order?
Actually, Katie didn't say anything. No.
Get a follow-up on it.
Yeah,
I did notice Flanders does have a 35 mile per hour right after Holly Hill Road, so that section's all
And
set
there's a
to
30
go.
at the top of the hill coming this way.
Just gotta change one sign, I think. And that's all I got.
Okay. Have we heard back from the ethics question that legal had?
yes, I have that on the list, and what there was is she said she sent some information in 131 of 19. Well, I've swapped computers and I can't find that email, so she, when I asked about the date this afternoon, she was supposed to send it to me, so.
Okay. So we still don't have that back
still don't have
to
it.
ethics?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're meeting third week in July, so I'm hoping
So
they
we
can.
have plenty of
yeah.
time. Okay, good.
I got one more, sorry. I'd like to request we go into a non-public, 91A, colon 3, 2A. And with that, I'd like to request that the town administrator be excused.
Can we do that after we talk to the gentleman that's here for Park?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Anybody have anything else?
No.
All right, so we've set the agenda for July. With that, I'd like to adjourn the public portion of the meeting. We will adjourn the full meeting after we come out of the non-public session or sessions at this point. And want to wish everybody a good night, a safe holiday. Enjoy the festivities of the We're Patriotic next coming weekend and 4th of July thereafter. And everybody stay cool. It's going to be hot out there. Please check on your neighbors, make sure your pets are taken care of, all that good stuff. Have a good night.